Friends, good morning and happy Independence Day to all of you. This is our 74th Independence Day. That is, we have completed 73 years of independence. India's Independence Day naturally reminds us of the sacrifices that our fathers and forefathers have made to secure the country's future. And owing to the ongoing coronavirus pandemic, there will be no social gatherings, and even all the states and the government departments have been instructed to webcast their events and celebrations. And even the gathering at the Red Fort is all limited. Since its independence, India has made good progress in many fields like agriculture, science and technology, education, defense, space programs, etc. And we have attained political freedom. But whether we have really attained the economic freedom fully is an issue to be debated. And coming to its history, for 200 years, Indians suffered the domination of the British colonials from 1757 onwards, with the victory of the English East India Company at the Battle of Plassey. Indian history is full of retaliation and uprisings, which eventually drove the Britishers out and forced the former Viceroy Lord Mountbatten to free India on August 15, 1947. This day also marked the partition of British ruled India into two countries, India and Pakistan, due to their divide and rule policy, leading to unrest, violent riots, mass casualties, and the displacement of nearly 15 million people. So, in this process, a large number of people also lost their lives. In the freedom struggle, some people followed the aggressive methods for India's liberation. People like Lala Rajpat Rai, Subhash Chandra Bose, Savarkar, Khudiram Bose, Balwant Padke, Chandrasekhar Azad, Rajguru, Bhagat Singh, Mangal Pandey, Kittur Rani Channamma, Jhansi Rani Lakshmibai, Tyantia Topi, etc., followed the aggressive methods by risking their lives. And the people like Pandit Nehru, Gopal Krishna Gokhale, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, Rajendra Prasad, and many others, they followed the Gandhian path, that is, peaceful protests, fasting, etc. But the objective was same, winning freedom. And as far as Britishers were concerned, they extended the same brutal treatment and they mercilessly killed people from both their sides, whoever agitated. So, hanging of the Indian patriots like Bhagat Singh and Rajguru, or Chandrasekhar Azad not surrendering to the British and killing himself, firing the patriots when they peacefully assembled in places like the Jallianwala Bagh. It was indicative of the violent attitude of the Britishers to retain the authority on India. And many people and many major events like the Indian independence movement, the Quit India movement, the Dandi March, Jallianwala Bagh incident, etc., etc., marked our freedom struggle. And more importantly, our decision to support the British in the Second World War, in which thousands of Indians lost their lives, is more important. And at the 1929 Lahore session, the Indian National Congress, the Purna Swaraj Declaration was promulgated, and 26 January 1930 was declared as the Independence Day at that time. And the people were called upon to pledge themselves to civil disobedience until India attained freedom, until India attained complete independence. So our people observed 26 January as the Independence Day from 1930 to 1946, marked by the meetings taking the Pledge of Independence without any speeches or exhortation, but by doing some constructive work like spinning khadi, the services to untouchables, the reunion of Hindus and Muslims, preparation work, etc., etc. And following the actual independence in 1947, the Constitution of India, it came into effect from 26 January 1950, marking this event. So since then, 26 January is celebrated as our Republic Day. In 1946, the Labour government in Britain, they exhausted its exchequer by the then concluded World War II. So this was the important economic reason for the Britishers to grant us the freedom. So they realized that it had no mandate at home or the international support or the reliability of the native forces to control an increasingly restless India. So on 20th February 1947, the then Prime Minister Clement, he announced that the British government would grant full self-governance to the British India, latest by June 1948. So the new Viceroy, Lord Mountbatten, he advanced this date for the transfer of power, believing that the continuous contention or the struggle between the Congress and the Muslim League, the Hindus and the Muslims, might lead to collapse of the interim government. So that was his intention in advancing the date. See, he chose the second anniversary of Japan's surrender in World War II, that is 15th August, as the date of power transfer, partitioning British India into two states, India and Pakistan, including what is now called Bangladesh, and to give independent status with complete legislative authority under the provisions of the Indian Independence Act 1947, passed by the Parliament of the UK, of course, with an implicit right to separate from the British Commonwealth. So the Constitution was, so that's, we got independence on 15th August 1947. The Constitution was framed by a Constituent Assembly with 299 elected members and Dr. Rajendra Prasad as its chairman, elected in 1946. The objective of the Constituent Assembly was to declare India as a democratic republic and to prepare a constitution for the country. So it formed several committees to speed up the work. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar was made the president of the Constitution Drafting Committee, and it took almost 3 years to finalize the Constitution, and it was finally adopted on 26th January 1950. So the first general elections, they were held in the 1951-52, and the first elected body, the parliament, came into existence in 1952. So constitution is the fundamental law of the country. It regulates the working of the government. It defines the nature of government. It describes the organs, powers, and the functions of the government. It specifies the rights and duties of citizens. So any law that is not in accordance with the provisions of the Constitution becomes invalid, and it also prevents the government from deviating the path, and it provides the opportunities to all citizens to participate in the political activities, and it also upholds that all citizens are equal before law. And of course, Constitution also has granted certain fundamental rights, and it has also announced the fundamental duties and the directive principles of the state policy, etc. etc. So thank you very much. Thank you very much, friends. And once again, a happy Independence Day to you all.